12 Pro Max in space gray or graphite, will you? And this phone still, obviously, it looks pretty good. Look at your boy, how he takes care of his phones. And you know how I do that? Hold up. Phone cases. Phone cases help us take care of our phones. And I know some of us like to rock these phones naked because obviously you want to show off that's nice, sleek design with the side railings and the stainless steel with obviously collect a lot of gloss, but I mean, not gloss, it's a glossy finish that collects a lot of fingerprints per se. And it's still a really good design. Like, look at this phone, it's beautiful. That graphite, that space gray never gets old. But this year I am upgrading to the 13 Pro Max, and after this video I will be picking it up and trading it in for my iPhone 12 Pro Max at Best Buy, which you can get a really good deal on. So let's talk about my experience with this phone and how it carried me out through the year. And it's been a pretty good experience for me. And I've been on Android for a while before going to 11 Pro Max and then the 12. And before 11 Pro Max, I went to Note 20 Ultra, Google Pixel 5. It just wasn't cutting it for me, but I'll make a separate video for why I prefer iOS and iPhones, even though I do love Android phones because they just come out with all these great features that eventually Apple will get accustomed to later on, but that's for another video. Let's talk about the display first of all and how much I enjoy the display of this phone. The design of this phone, the display per se, is very nice. Samsung makes the panels to these phones, and Samsung is notorious and known for making the best displays on the market. And this display is no slouch. Apple calibrates the color to their liking. That's why it's not overly saturated like Samsung panels are on Samsung phones, but it's still a pretty phenomenal display. And just going through here, even though it's only 60 hertz, we did miss 120 hertz this year due to quality control and Apple wanting to make sure that it works perfectly well. The display on here in the 60 hertz is still very, very smooth, as opposed to some Android counterparts like Samsung, where 60 hertz sometimes has a little lag to it, just a little bit. But Samsung phones have been doing good since the Note 10 Plus that I had. Animations on One UI has been very, very phenomenal, and it's been very smooth. It just has a little laggy here and there, but ever since they got away from touch switch, it's been fine. Obviously, the Pixel phones are the iPhones of Android phones and devices, since Google makes the software, and when Google makes the software and the hardware for their devices, it's pretty optimized and it's going to be a very smooth experience. So with that being said, the display on here is good. It gets very bright outdoors. I never had any issues viewing my phone outdoors, although I do have issues with my phone overheating outdoors. So for example, I have my phone in the car on the dash, and on a very hot day, I don't know if it's the phone cases, since I use black phone cases for the majority of my phones, or even a clear case, for example. If it's a hot day and the sun is beating down on the phone through the windshield while I'm using GPS for a long car drive, the display will dim itself because it's overheating, and the phone does overheat when the sun is beating down on it. And this is like Indiana sun. I don't know what it'd be like for like Arizona sun, Florida sun, or other areas where the sun is really, really hot and just really is beaming down on your device. So that's something to look out for. But the display does get plenty bright, especially when you're viewing HDR content. It does go up to like, I think 1,000 nits, I believe, when it comes to HDR content.
If you watch the event, they didn't really talk about anything that's really groundbreaking. The heart rate sensor is still there. ECG is still there. The blood oxygen sensor is still there. The fall detection is still there. Sleep tracking is still
100 nits, 800 nits, I think. Overall, but correct me in the comments, it's just an estimate. Don't really feel like looking up the exact numbers right now, but it gets a bright display. You can see outdoors just fine when it's maxed out, and the colors on here look great when you're viewing HDR content, playing games, or just general scrolling. And even if you want to edit photos or edit videos on your phone with LumaFusion or Adobe Rush or Lightroom or Photoshop Express or even Snapseed if you like using that. The color accuracy on here is pretty good. You do get nice, flat, accurate colors on here, as opposed to saturated colors on Samsung devices. So it's a really good display, and I've enjoyed using this phone for media consumption due to its phenomenal display. But another thing I want to talk about is battery life, because I've had a really good experience in the beginning and then not so much. Let me tell you why. So this is about to be some footage of some sound tests because I forgot to include that in my initial recordings. So here's some clips of the sound quality of the iPhone 12 Pro Max.
An aesthetic or cosmetic or just an exterior upgrade. Pretty much if you're coming from the Series 3 or the SE or anything beyond or below the series.
So in the beginning, when I got this phone, it had one of its upgrades was battery life. It had a bigger battery finally compared to 11 Pro Max, and even the 13s are getting bigger batteries. Apple is finally listening to the consumers and making bigger batteries in exchange for a little more heft and a little more thickness. But I will take thickness and heft with great battery life any day, as opposed to a slim design with a slim battery with a low capacity that doesn't last that long. And with iOS being completely optimized and a new efficient A15 Bionic chip on there for more efficiency, that's really focused on efficiency instead of high performance, we should get a lot better battery life on the iPhone 13. And this was the case on the iPhone 12 Pro Max with the A14 Bionic chip. So many chips every single year, lose track of them. A14 with this phone, and it's been very efficient and it's been working out pretty well in the beginning. But as time went on, my battery health degraded fast. I think in the first couple of months, it went from 100% battery health capacity to like 97, like within a couple of months. And other people keep, I don't know, the battery health is maintained at 100%, despite no matter what kind of charging habits they have, their battery health has remained at 100%, 99%. Mine kept going down. I don't know why. And the more it goes down, the battery health, your battery isn't operating at its capacity, which kind of sucks. So you go from like great battery life lasting all day long to maybe needing to charge twice a day. And I've been needing to charge twice a day, almost 3 times a day now, because I'm a heavy user with my phone. So mind you, this is what it looks like today. I use my phone a lot, and a lot of that is because I work midnights and I'm on my phone a lot at work because it's midnights and there's nothing to do. I'm kind of just on my phone consuming content, listening to music, watching videos, but whatever. Here's the battery health. I'm at 90%, and it's been a year. You can't see that, but and it's probably backwards, but I'm at 90% battery health, maximum capacity, and that sucks. I talked to Apple about trying to get my phone replaced because I'm like, why is the battery health degrading so quickly? And it might have been from the heat, could have been from overheating the phone, could have been from using chargers and using my phone while it's on a fast charger and the phone heating. Because with heat and battery, they don't go well together. So if your phone is overheating, the battery will degrade faster than it's expected to, and the battery health will go down. So maybe my phone overheated. I don't know. I've been using MagSafe actually a lot during the early months, so that way I can use less power to charge it. It's like 15 watts. It's less than 18 watts and 20 watts, which is what this phone is capable of charging at, charging speed wise. So this phone does charge fast, but in exchange it comes with heat. The faster a phone charges, the more energy it's using. The more energy used, the more heat, unless the phone has a very good cooling system about it and are in a very good way to dissipate that heat when it's charging that fast. But battery health on here degraded way too fast for me, and I was really disappointed. So I'm hoping with the iPhone 13 Pro Max, that's not the case. Now, what I want to talk about next is the user experience. User experience is huge. It's the software. Software is very huge when it comes to our devices. When you're using an Android device or an iOS device, it all comes down to how the user experiences with the software, and that's what makes or breaks most phones, and that's where people draw their line with their preferences and how the phones operate. So let me start by talking about iOS 15, since I have that on here on my iPhone 12 Pro Max and the new stuff that comes on here. So with FaceTime, we have SharePlay. So basically, FaceTime conversations, you can watch TV shows and movies together, listen to music, or share your screen on SharePlay on iOS 15. So you can watch together, listen to music together, you can share your screen. You do have spatial audio on FaceTime, it looks like. So individual voices, so like they're coming from every direction, which is nice. I mean, not like an important feature. We do have portrait mode. And with portrait mode camera being introduced in iOS 15, I found that to be very interesting for a software experience. I found it interesting that Snapchat and Instagram can utilize portrait mode video, but the camera app itself doesn't have portrait mode video. And with iPhone 13, and which I'm going to go pick up after I'm done making this video, you do get portrait mode video or cinematic mode for that matter to get a blurred background in the camera app, but you don't get it on iPhone 12 Pro Max. Don't know why. Obviously, they have the computing power to do it since the apps are using it, but for some reason it's not involved in the camera app. And I don't know if there'll be a software update to let them do that, but we'll see. You do have different mic modes. You have wide spectrum and voice isolation, grid view on FaceTime. You have FaceTime links. So with FaceTime links, you can send a link out to anybody who has an Android device or Windows device. Anyone that has a link can click on it and they can FaceTime you using that link. You have messages and emojis. That's not really nothing new there. Shared within apps. So shared with you is a built-in photo Safari, blah, blah, blah. Nothing really important there, honestly. You have new emojis, photo collections, which is actually pretty cool. So when you send photos to people on iOS 15, I'm not sure if they need iOS 15 as well, but instead of having it photo after photo stacked on the top of each other, it'll now be bundled where you can just swipe left to right, which is nice. And then you have the focus modes. So with focus modes, this is a different type of grouping your notifications. iOS has been very weak with notifications, but this is one way they're trying to tackle it by implementing focus modes. So you can enable personal, work mode, fitness mode, gaming mode, and in these modes, you specify what apps you want to use or get notifications from, who you want to get notifications from. So whoever is not in this list, you won't get notifications from them at all, or it won't be a priority. So all these other notifications will be bundled into this little subsection where it says notifications while in this mode. You click on it and you'll get all the notifications that weren't disturbing you while you're in that mode. So that's pretty good way of tackling it, but notifications is still not as good as Android. It's still not as clean. I don't know when they're gonna get their stuff together and just look at the way Android's doing notifications and just copy it. You guys literally just copy each other all the time. Android and iOS copy each other all the time. So I wish the iPhone would, or iOS would just copy that feature. And for example, if you have silent notifications and it will indicate, or you can choose to show the other user that you are in that mode, and if it's silent notifications, you can enable notify me anyway, and what that does is make the phone message spaz out as if you were sending the loud effect in iMessage. So that's pretty cool. Maps is new. I mean, you get 3D viewing angles, more immersive stuff. Safari is different. Safari now has the web the bottom tab, everything's the bottom, so the search bar is at the bottom, so that way you can easily reach it as opposed to reaching all the way up on the device. And this is very helpful when you are rocking the 12 Pro Max, because it's a 6.7 inch screen and stretching your thumb all the way up there for the search bar can kind of be inconvenient, so that's nice that that's there. You do have the voice search on here, some extensions for Safari. ID cards will be, you can add driver's license to your Apple wallet, which is interesting. So live text, that's also pretty cool. You can now underline text and pictures, and that's very convenient. So if there's a phone number and a picture, you can just hold and it'll copy the phone number or any other words, for example, which is also pretty cool. Spotlight is different, not really. Photos, the health app updates. You can share your data with people, which is nice. And privacy, you do have hiding your IP address now using Safari, mail privacy, and all that jazz. iCloud Plus. So with iCloud Plus, you have iCloud Private Relay, browse a little more privacy, hide my email, Yada yada. New and animations in the weather app. So software of iOS 15 is different and it is nice. And the basics of iOS 15 software before all that, obviously, is iMessage and FaceTime. Is convenient when using it with other people who have that. And obviously, the whole blue bubble, green bubble wars or whatever. I mean, that's just stupid. If you like a device, you like a device, and obviously you can adapt to not having iMessage and FaceTime. There's alternatives like WhatsApp or Google Duo, and the Gmail or the Google Suite apps are obviously very good apps. I mean, they're even very well optimized on iOS because Google apps are pretty damn good. So you do have the Find My features. I mean, if you aren't familiar with the iOS software stuff, it's got very convenient things on there. If you're in the Apple ecosystem and your friends and family are in the Apple ecosystem with Find My and all that, you can share locations with people. But the overall user experience for me has been very good. Everything's been smooth running. I have no connectivity issues making phone calls with people. iMessage is obviously very smooth and great. Airdropping material and productivity stuff from the iPhone to the Mac or iPad is very smooth and intuitive. The Bluetooth experience for me, though, I don't know what it is, but my Android phones always connect to my car instantaneously. And for some reason, it takes minutes for my phone to connect to my car for Bluetooth connectivity. That's the only issue I really had. It seems iOS or Apple in general tends to have issues with Bluetooth. Not sure why they can't figure it out, but there's Bluetooth issues here and there. I've had Bluetooth issues listening to music on my AirPods, my Sonys. It doesn't matter. Bluetooth connection's still been pretty spotty. Hopefully it's different with the iPhone 13. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm going on a full blown rant about software, but software is huge when it comes to the user experience of our cell phones. So next I'm just going to talk about, we talked about battery life, we talked about display. So let's just talk about the cameras and then be done with this. So the camera experience on the iPhone 12 Pro Max has been pretty good. The wide angle lens is good. Telephoto lens is good. The ultra wide could use some work, and it did in the upgrade with iPhone 13. So I'll put some photos on here. I'm not going to talk about the specs or whatever the camera. I'll put some photo examples, some video examples on here for you guys to check out. And that's going to be it. I'm going to wrap up with that. So after the photos and videos, that's where the video is going to end. So I'm just going to wrap up with iPhone 12 Pro Max is a good device. It's a minimal it's actually, no, it's not even a minimal upgrade. It's a good upgrade from the iPhone 11 Pro Max. Camera upgrades were huge this year. The design with the stainless steel edges was huge. Everything about this phone, the frosted matte black, the frosted matte finish on the back is very nice and smooth feeling. Obviously, if you rock a case, you won't feel all that, but that doesn't matter. But this was a good phone. Other than the battery health decreasing on me a lot, it's good. And if it weren't for me being a huge tech enthusiast, I honestly wouldn't upgrade to the iPhone 13 Pro Max from the 12 Pro Max, because the only thing that's really changing is the display, the battery, obviously the weight, and the cameras. But I'm a huge camera enthusiast, huge tech enthusiast, so I'm gonna upgrade regardless. And I do want that ProMotion display. I do want that new camera sensors, especially the ultra wide, and that macro photography is looking very nice. I can't wait to get my hands on it. I will be doing unboxing of the iPhone 13 Pro Max and my impressions on it, and then I'll get into review on it a week later after using it. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, man, if you have an iPhone 10 or below, I would upgrade to the 12 Pro Max if you don't want the 13. But they're going to be the same price. So the iPhone 12s and 13s are going to be the same price. So if you have an iPhone 11 or below, I would say the 13 would be a pretty good upgrade. You do get 120 hertz. You do get bigger battery, better battery life, and more efficient chip, and better camera software and hardware. If you do have a 12 Pro Max or an iPhone 12 Pro, it's probably not necessary, especially if your battery health is still doing very good opposed to mine. But if you're a tech enthusiast and you want the best of the best, obviously upgrading is fine. If you're one of those people like me who do it every year, it's fine. But if you have a 12 Pro Max or 12 Pro, you don't need to. But if you have a regular 12 model, upgrading to just a regular 13 would be a huge upgrade, because the iPhone 13 models are basically little iPhone 12 Pro Maxes, and with a better ultra wide. You can't go wrong with that. And you do get bigger storages to start out with 120 gigabytes, which is nice. So that's it for this video. I kind of ranted on the software part, but software is very important when it comes to using your phone, because that's what makes the phone, is the software, not the cameras, not The design, it's the software experience, and that's pretty huge. And the software experience is great. It's smooth. It doesn't really lag. There's some bugs here and there. There's always going to be bugs, but Apple's pretty good about kicking out software updates to fix those. So if you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe, hit that bell icon for more. Talk to me in the comment section about your feelings on the iPhone 12 Pro Max. Are you going to upgrade? Are you going to stay? What are you going to do? All right.
Go Eagles!
Nah. Nah. Hold on.